morning, everyone. This is Lindy. Sorry about the reflection in my glasses. I never seem to be able to get rid of them, but I wanted to give you a story today. Now, I have not talked about my military experience. It's just funny. Um, I was totally uncoordinated, totally unprepared. I was 18 years old, and so I thought I would begin. And there's quite a few stories to tell you. Trust me. So, my first story is going to be about the first few days. They told us that we would not learn to shoot a gun. Oh my goodness. All the military shoots guns. Why wouldn't I shoot a gun? And I did ask the question, which you should never do. Never volunteer and never ask a question. And so they took us to below the commandant's office, the female commandant for the females. And I was in Fort McClellan, Alabama for my training. And they showed us where the sharpshooter, where the target practice is. And up above on the hill is where the commander's office is. Number one, I don't get that. Why wouldn't... Anyway, you'll get the story. So, they said, well, someone accidentally shot into the commander's office, and so no longer are women allowed to shoot. And I said, well, it's illogical to me. Now, mind you, I have such a big mouth. Why would you have the office up there and target practice down here? Why don't you have target practice away from everything around? That was my first experience with the discipline called KP, which is the kitchen duties. So KP is when you are being punished, and it's called disciplinary and discretion, and you are sent there after all the meals in your free time, and you scrub the kitchen, you scrub the pots and pans, you clean all the dishes that everybody used to eat with. And that's, they have a few regulars that have kitchen duty, but the rest of the time is people who are being punished. So that was my third or fourth day, KP duty. Learned right away what that was. So then about my fifth day, and I'm only going to tell you 2 stories here, they decide they're going to give us duties. Because we're waiting. I was in Bravo company, and they were waiting to fill up the company. So we had a few extra days before we started any training or did anything like that. So they decided to teach us to clean. Now, the barracks was 2 stories high, if I remember correctly. I'm thinking it was 2, not 3, but could have been 3. I just remember I was on the 2nd floor. And so they're handing out these duties to each person. And they take me up to the 2nd floor. Now, this barracks is really long. It wasn't a mile long, okay? But it felt like a mile long, okay? And it was a linoleum floor. Polished to a shine. It's a gorgeous floor. Gorgeous. Worn, but, always polished. Well, I weighed 95 pounds. And the sergeant decides to take me upstairs to show me the buffer. I get to buff that whole hallway. It was not a mile long, but it seemed like a mile long. It was huge. Now, that machine weighed more than me. I'm not lying. It was humongous. I can't even tell you how big this thing was. And, of course, I didn't know you could handle it through your fingertips, which I learned later on. But she says, now we want you to buff. They really didn't. They showed me the on and off button, but they really didn't show me anything else. So I push. So she goes downstairs, here's your on and off, this is what you do, blah, 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 and they leave me. And I'm on the 2nd floor. And so I turn the button on, and the machine drags me. And I'm like trying to get control of this machine, and I'm fighting the machine, and the machine's just going wherever it wants because it's bigger than me. And so I'm trying to do this haul, and I know I'm not getting it done because the machine is out of control. I just can't control it. It's just buffing wherever it wants to buff because I can't make it go anywhere other than it's moving on its own because the buffer, the rollers, So it's moving on its own. It's going down the floor, blue, 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 Well, guys, we're on the second floor. Now, second floor, they have about 10 or 15 stairs down, and then a mid-section, and then they have another 10 or 15 stairs. We call it platform. Anyway, so I'm seeing these stairs, and I'm going, oh my gosh. I don't know what to do because this machine's just dragging me all over the floor. I had no control, none, zippo. And I'm sure none of you know what a huge machine like this is about, because I think just institutions have them. You'll see them in the movies. They're huge buffers. We're getting closer and closer to stairs. Just me and the buffer. And the next thing I know, the buffer goes over the stairs. Now, I'm not smart enough to let that buffer go by itself. So I fly through the air, holding onto the buffer down to the platform in between the two sets of stairs. And there I land. And of course it's ripped out of the wall, the plug, and I'm laying on top of the buffer. Now, thank goodness I didn't get hurt, but the buffer did. KP that night and the next day too. So this was like my first week. Already I'd had 2 or 3 KPs. I don't know what else I did the first week. And I wasn't even being trained yet. We were waiting to fill Bravo Company. So I thought I would just tell you. I mean, there's many like this, guys. I was totally uncoordinated. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to march. I didn't know how to do anything. And I had a mouth. So, unfortunately, all that was against me. I just thought you might like that story, because it was funny. I was punished all the time, but it was funny because that buffer just went right down those stairs. The plug unplugged. It was all broke. So I'll talk to you next time. You guys have a great day. I hope you enjoyed that little story. I'll see you when I see you. Camo.